Hi, I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Dovoh self-leveling laser level. So let's get started.
House on the Mend.
Now, I'm not paid nor sponsored by Dovoh. They simply reached out to me and offered to send me this unit for free for my independent review. So let's unbox it and see what you get inside. All right, let's take a look at what comes inside this really nice nylon padded case. Look at that layout, really well done. All right, so we've got the unit itself, and it has a rubberized grip on the top for when you're pulling it out. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Unit comes with 2 rechargeable batteries, and when I originally looked at the Amazon listing, I thought they were Canon batteries, but as you can see, the very popular Canon LPE6 battery is shorter, and the contacts are completely different. So it is not a Canon battery. Nonetheless, it comes with its own charger. Just slips right in, and here's the indicator light. And if you look here, unfortunately, it cannot handle a more powerful charger. You're down into the typical household strength of charging. But the nice thing is they do give you a charger right in this bag. It also comes with a USB to USB-C cable. I like that this charger can be charged with USB-C. That's nice. Next we have a remote, and it has a horizontal button and a vertical button. I've never had a laser before where you can click the lines you want, turn them on and off. That is really cool. This big piece here is a mounting bracket. So it has a very large thread here. Over here there are 2 screws that you can back off and mount the unit to something, what, about a 1/4 of an inch or so. And if you give this a good hard tug, it dislodges this portion from this heavily magnetized piece that can be put against a metal surface, and the laser mounts right here, and then you adjust the height from there. Feels like pretty stout plastic. I don't feel any real give in it, and it's pretty heavy duty feeling. Now this little guy is neat. Look at this. So you turn this screw, and this little stand will raise or lower. So you can, if you're setting it on, say, a step of a ladder or on a surface of some sort, you can do little micro adjustments to the laser with this little stand. That's pretty novel. I've never seen that before. Something I have seen before are these little aids that help you at longer distances outside when you're having trouble finding the laser. You can set this up and make your micro adjustments because the laser light will illuminate on here in bright light. There's a magnet on top for it to stick to a metal surface, obviously, and then this little back piece comes out so the unit can stand on its own. And it looks like you could go upside down if you want and actually hang it with a screw or a nail. Finally, we have a pretty well-written manual. I did read through it, and there is a discrepancy that confused me. If you look on this page here, it describes this spot on the laser as a USB-C charging port, making you believe that you can charge the battery internally from this port. However, a couple pages over, the battery can only be charged with the battery charger provided instead of being charged in the device directly. It says the laser tool can be directly powered by USB Type-C cable. So it looks like there's an error up front, and what can actually happen is you can supply external power here if you're worried about the battery going out while you're using it. I'm not sure why you would be worried, because according to this manual, there is incredible battery life. There is a chart on here that describes that if you use one of the 4 lasers, which they count as 4 lasers because it distributes on 4 sides, it will last for 26 hours. If you have 2 sets of lines turned on, you get 16 hours. 3 gives you 8 hours. And if you put all 4 of these lasers on at the same time, which I'm not sure why you would do, you get 6 hours of runtime. So I don't think you'll need to be running to an auxiliary power source when you get that type of battery life. In my testing, it took 2 hours and 18 minutes to fully charge the battery from how it came out of the package. The LED is red when you first start charging, turns green once the charging is complete, and there was no considerable temperature rise from the charging of the battery. Now, to install the battery, there is a door on the rear bottom of the unit, and it's a little bit tough to open, but if you just pop open over this little catch, the door, you have to go through the mounting plate into the battery port, which at first I thought was going to be kind of difficult, but this guy doesn't snap into place. It just slides in there and sits. So it's really not that tough. When you need to get the battery out, it'll just slide out. Close the door, and we are powered up. Now, something I haven't seen before, which I really like in this unit, is there is a lock on all of the lasers that are self-leveling, so that during transportation and storage, they're not getting banged around and possibly damaged. And that is actually how you turn the unit on, just by simply unlocking it. And if it's off more than 4 degrees in any direction, it'll immediately blink the lasers and give you a beep. Listen. And all you have to do to stop that is put it into a level position within 4 degrees. Now, 4 degrees may sound like not very much, but watch how much I can pivot this over before the alarm goes off. That's quite a bit. Let's do this way too. So you're going to have quite a bit of leeway on the tripod or whatever you put it on before it's outside of its self-leveling range. Let's go over the buttons up top. You have right here your battery indicator. We have a fully charged battery, so it is green. Next button over is the pulse button. So if you press 1 time, this little icon turns blue and tells you that pulse mode is on. So they claim to have a range of about 20 meters on regular mode. If you turn pulse mode on, that is supposed to extend the range to 40 to 60 meters if you have a receiver. So this is a picture of a receiver. It is not included. It is an aftermarket product, and it's too bad, but Dovoh does not sell one of their own, but there are many manufacturers who do, and you can mount that to a pole, and you can go out to even further distances if you use pulse mode. I don't have one of those receivers, so let's go back into the normal mode. Now, the third little icon here is the lock button, and let's go over what that's for. So the unit typically is most commonly going to be used as a self-leveling laser. But what if you are wanting to have the laser be at an angle, an incline or a decline, say if you're putting up staircase railing, for example? Well, you would come down here, you would lock the lasers, which shuts it off, but if you press and hold the power button, The red icon for the lock comes on, and now you are able to adjust the laser to any angle up or down with no alarm and no attempt to self-level. So I can see that being pretty useful if you're wanting to do something such as have staggering picture frames going up a staircase, or like I said earlier, putting in railing. There's lots of features where that would be very helpful. Let's get out of that lock mode just by pressing and holding the button until the laser and the red icon go off. We'll unlock it, and let's go over some of the different settings. First, horizontal. You have, interestingly, you have a lower laser and an upper laser. So if you press the button one time, it goes up from the lower to the upper horizontal laser. If you press it again, you get both of them at the same time. There is no mention of this feature and why it's in this unit in the manual. I have one theory that we're going to test a little later, but there's no mention of why you can have two lasers going off at the same time in the manual. If you have an idea, put it in the comments below. I'll show you the idea I came up with. A third push of the horizontal turns them both off. Now vertical. We also have two vertical lasers. So one push turns on the one on the front. Another push turns on just the one on the side of the unit. A third push turns them both on. That's very useful when you are trying to pinpoint a joist or something on the ceiling, and I'll go over an example and show you that later. In fact, I have a project next week where I'm installing some garage overhead storage. We're going to take this with us and use this feature. Another push of the button turns them both off. Now you can do the same thing I just did with the remote. Very cool. Next, let's test the auxiliary power port. If we remove the battery, we have no function. But if we add 5 volts, the unit turns on and functions as normal. So it's 5:30 in the morning. The sun is not up yet, and the laser is about 73 feet away, and you can clearly see the plus sign there from the two lasers coming together. And if we bring the little target in, you can kind of see it better. So 20 minutes later, the sun's coming up, and if we pan back over, you can no longer make out where the laser is. If I put this in there, you can kind of just see it right there beneath the line. So this is my best guess for the two sets of horizontal lines. If you look here, this is a gang box, what's behind this plate, and it isn't quite lined up. There is a bit of a gap to the top and to the bottom. In fact, if I get it right down to that line there, you can see quite a bit of gap up top. But nonetheless, I think that would get you in the ballpark. So perhaps this function is to quickly set up all your electrical boxes at the switch level, and then also down at the outlet level. And that would save you from going around to all the studs with the tape measure and trying to measure off every one of those if you just had a laser level set up and could go all the way around every room. So over the last 2 weeks of use, I have used the laser to mount picture frames, bicycles, gardening tools, and install 2 identical garage overhead storage shelves. In every instance, I used a laser level pole, as you see here. I'll leave a link for one on Amazon. In fact, in all my testing, I didn't use anything except the pole and a standard camera tripod. I never once used the included mount, but I think it's nice to have. And I think that's enough testing for me to give you my pros and cons. First, the pros. Number one, the overall build quality was excellent. I love the rubberized grip around the top. It makes it very easy to pull out of the case. Number two, the battery life is outstanding. Through all the making of this video, through all my testing over the last couple weeks at customers' houses, I left this on the entire time I was measuring out all the things you saw in the pictures and never once had to change out this single battery that I've used. Number three would be the case. It is well fitting of all the items inside, and it's really nice quality. It's great to have, be able to throw in your rig and head out to the job site. And then number four would be the remote. I just think it is so convenient, especially when you're up on a ladder, to be able to turn on and off a certain laser if it's hitting you in the face while you're trying to get into position. I really did find it handy. Now the cons, and thankfully there's really only two. First of all, I thought the alarm was a little bit annoying. When I was installing the garage overhead storage, I needed to pick up and move the laser level several times to get right underneath certain spots where I was mounting the brackets for that shelving. And every time I picked it up, it would beep and blink. And a couple times when I was doing the same similar thing inside the customer's house, hanging the pictures, when I was bringing the level up and down on the pole, it also would beep. And I was a little self-conscious that it was kind of annoying to have something making that much noise in my customer's otherwise quiet house. The second thing would be, as you see in this picture here, I found that the lower horizontal laser light at about a distance of, say, 15 feet away or so was noticeably dimmer than the vertical one. When you get the unit close enough, it really doesn't make a difference, but it is a noticeable fade off. And one more point that's really not specific to this laser level is the fact that the manual claims that this laser level is good out to 20 meters outdoors. I was 22 meters doing that one testing. The sun was barely cresting the mountains, and already I could not see the laser and could barely see it with the little green chart that's supposed to illuminate the laser. Now, personally, that's been my same experience with all the laser levels I've ever owned, but I thought since they said that this one would go out that far, that maybe it should have. So if you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the channel. Also, please consider subscribing. I work really hard to put out good quality content. There's a lot more tool review videos to go. We also have a van build series going on that I think you would enjoy. It's very helpful to the channel, and it's also free. You just log in under your username and click subscribe, or if you follow me on Rumble, follow there. It's very helpful, and I appreciate everyone that's done that for us. I'm going to leave a link to this laser level in the description below. You just click on the more, it'll open up the description. Full disclosure, that'll be an Amazon affiliate link, so if you click on it and do end up making any purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It's a great benefit to the channel. It helps me buy certain tools to review that are not sent to me by the manufacturer. Speaking of the manufacturer, I want to thank Dovoh for sending me out this unit with no preconceived agreement on what I was going to say. I can't tell you how many times I get manufacturers wanting to send me contracts saying that they want to have the right to look at the video ahead of time before I post it to YouTube. I refuse all of those product reviews. So the fact that Dovoh didn't do that shows they're confident in the quality of their equipment. They sent it to me and just let me review it and let me say the truth about that unit, and I respect them for that. Until next time, thank you for watching.